Hello, everybody. My name is Quincy Patterson. Thank you for coming tonight. This is my TED Talk on what makes a leader. Um, I like to first start off by giving a personal story on what I believe makes a leader. To me, a leader is somebody who helps people do better, achieve their goals. They inspire people, and usually they're the most courageous person in the room. To me, when I think of a leader, I think of my mom. I know it sounds corny, but as my mother raised two black men in her home by herself as a young mother in the ghetto, I can't say anything more than my admiration for her. I remember when we were younger, she used to walk with us to the EBT line, and we used to walk to the different donation spots in the churches so we can get the free food. And I used to be embarrassed to even be out with the EBT and the Independence card and the SNAP benefits. But my mother, she never let us hold our head in shame. She always told us to be proud of who we were, proud of what we were doing. No matter what circumstance we were in, she always taught us that we were no less than because of this circumstance. But in fact, we were more understanding, and this will only help to strengthen us. She was also a big believer in church. But I remember this one particular story where we were walking from our apartment building to get groceries, and it was a short minute walk. It was about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and there was this home. There was this unhomed individual who was sitting on the sidewalk, just laying there, and he was down on his luck, just like we were. But it was these bystanders. You know, people are very mean. It was strangers. They were playing with him. They were throwing water at him, degrading him for what he was. And I was a little kid. I was about 6 years old. But my mother, she 5'2", she stood up to all the bystanders out there, and she really gave them a piece of her mind, and she told them that we're not just what our circumstances are. We're much bigger than that. She really gave me the feel to keep going in all my endeavors and pursue what I really want, no matter what it is. Some of the qualities that make a good leader include their openness for a discussion and any form of feedback. I feel as though a boss will only let you discuss what they want to hear, but a leader is open to all things, even if it's bad information. Leaders can still take that and grow and help individuals, as you wouldn't want a boss that you can't tell was wrong. Who wants a narcissistic boss? No one, right? No one. I know I don't. My second point is they teach and learn from others. They admit mistakes. Admitting mistakes is one of the biggest things that you can do with being a leader, as it's not very easy to truly admit mistakes, but it's a necessary fall that you must take. I know, me personally, I'm a Sagittarius fire sign. I don't know if anybody in the room thinks anything about the celestial signs, but me personally, I hate to take criticism, but that's not what leadership is. I must feel whatever I'm feeling on the side, but I must put the team first, which I feel as though that's what leaders do. Such as Martin Luther King, he always thought that we should put our differences aside, and we should not come to the same wavelength as our oppressors or the enemy have come. He always believed that we should take the peaceful way instead of the much more violent road that has been given to us throughout time. This is to the side I have what a boss and what a leader is, the differences of what it can be. Next, I like to talk about the different leadership styles. I'm only talking about 2 different leadership styles today. The first leadership style I like to talk about is the authoritative style of leadership, which is the style that marks the confident leaders who engage in self-expectations while engaging in others. They're often known as the visionaries, as defined by Webster's dictionary. One very famous example of the authoritative leadership would be Huey P. Newton, the Honorable Huey P. Newton. They are often the leaders that bring everybody in with their amazing energy and their, at the time, very different ideas that are often the first time people are hearing these. They really like to draw the crowd and bring everybody in. That's why I really gravitated towards Huey P. Newton. That's one of my biggest mentors in leadership that I would have to study. The next form of leadership that I like to talk about is the complete opposite, which is the laissez-faire leadership, as defined by Webster's media. The laissez-faire leadership style is at the opposite end spectrum from the autocratic or authoritative form. And the authoritative form or totalitarian form of leadership is when someone is overbearing and they must be in your face 24/7, like a boss. But the laissez-faire leadership allows people to do their own work. The laissez-faire leadership was very popular in Steve Jobs' form of leading, as he picked people who he knew could run it, and he was confident with what they can say and what they would do, as he allowed them to do their task as individuals, and he never really oversaw what they were doing to an extent of he had to be in the room with them. He more so gave everybody their space and they all came together, which I feel as though is an amazing form of leadership. But personally, I prefer the authoritative leadership where we can all bring our ideas in, such as Huey P. Newton did. One of my personal leaders in my life, I have to say, is definitely my mother, for sure. But also, I feel as though teachers are one of the biggest leaders that we have in our community, because they often are neglected as people, and they're just seen as an authoritative, totalitarian form of leading. But in fact, a lot of the teachers that I've had prefer the more laissez-faire style of leading, where they allow people to make their own mistakes, but they come in at the end to help clean them up. I like to say one of my personal leaders that I have always looked up to, or that I've looked up to now, is my coach. My coach has always taught me that I must do better for myself, even when better is not given to me. I must want it, or I must take better for myself. To close, I have a quote from Muhammad Ali. He who is not courageous enough to take risk will accomplish nothing in life. As I really said, this is what I've thought my entire life, with my mother taking leadership with how we're supposed to be treated or how we look at ourselves, with my teachers telling me that I can actually do it, or my teachers helping me to make my own mistakes so I can learn from it. And with my coaches telling me, oh, you're on the bench because you want to be on the bench. They made me take my position. They made me take a starting position. They made me lead to do better for myself. Thank you all for coming.